Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for this session on valuing diversity in the workplace. At Dynamic Corporate Solutions, we know that successful businesses understand the importance of diversity. They know how to foster diversity and prevent barriers that hinder an engaged workforce. In this course, we'll explore that world of diversity and understand its importance in our workplace and on our teams. We're glad you're here. Issues of diversity are all around us in whatever type of environment we work. Every day, we see examples of businesses who are called to account for discrimination, the most obvious evidence that diversity is not valued. Take a look at some of these recent and unfortunately not uncommon headlines. These examples point out why all of us should be familiar with diversity and how it shows up in our businesses. The bottom line, have you noticed increasing diversity in our society? If you have, you know that diversity is also a part of the makeup of our workplaces and it affects our jobs every day. Specifically, this course will address these topics. Diversity Today. We'll define diversity and why it's important to be aware of the trends and laws that support it. In Module 2, we'll understand the role of stereotypes and bias. For most of us, we don't often think about how stereotypes are formed or about how they affect us at work. In Module 3, we'll learn to recognize and respond to harassment. Have you seen harassment at work? We'll talk about how to identify it when it happens. In Module 4, we'll discuss creating a multicultural workplace. No matter what our age, race, or gender, everyone can promote a work culture that values mutual respect and professionalism. During our course, you will occasionally see a focus and apply question. We'll stop and apply our topics to you and your situation at work. The topics in this course are common in most businesses. In this case, consider how diversity shows up on your team and with the people you work. Are there different backgrounds, different ways of thinking, and different cultures on your team? So let's get started. In our first module, we'll talk about what does diversity really mean in today's environment. If you define diversity as being different, well, you're almost there. We look around and see a variety of different types of people. That's diversity. Along with types of people come those people's perspectives, unique cultures, and ways of thinking. It refers to the whole sum of differences that come with each individual. To take it a step further, healthy diversity refers to the appreciation of those differences, skills, talents, and ideas. We call that diversity of thought. When those are included and used to reach goals, then we would say that diversity is really at work. Let's look at it this way. If you think of diversity as different shapes and colors, as our picture shows, putting all of those shapes and colors fully to work is considered a good business model. That's why allowing all team members to plug in their contributions, no matter how unique and unexpected, can be a best business practice. All employees are diverse in some shape or form, not only in our background and how we look, but also in the way that we perceive situations, how we think about life and work, and how we solve problems. Let's focus and apply. So the question for you to ponder is this. Imagine if your team was made up of people all just like you, with no variation in talents or way of thinking. What would your team be like without its diversity? Okay, let's take a look at the foundation for diversity in business and society first. Diversity per se is not a legal imperative, but there are laws that govern how employees are treated. One is equal opportunity, treating employees fairly, if you will, no matter what their personal characteristics, like race, color, religion, or age. Another is anti-discrimination, or not making adverse job-related decisions because of someone's unique personal characteristics, like overlooking a person for a job or promotion. No harassment is a legal principle that prevents rude or unwelcome behaviors, and no retaliation makes it illegal to cause trouble for those who report it. Most companies have a policy or multiple policies that outline the ways these laws are interpreted. And most importantly, valuing diversity is carried out in the ethics and respect of how we deal with each other on a personal level, primarily valuing differences through respect and inclusion, and of course, integrity. In your company, is there a policy? Do you know where to find it? Reading it would be a great first place to start with understanding diversity. Diversity is based in U.S. law from a few different perspectives. The first one is the fundamental law providing the foundation for anti-discrimination and equitable treatment of employees, the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It is a federal law that prohibits employers from discrimination. It is not exaggerating to say that it is broad-reaching in driving real behavior changes in the U.S. workplace. Since it was passed in 1964, other, newer laws have been passed based on its foundation. Like many state laws, states can put emphasis on different aspects of the federal law or put more teeth into some of the consequences. For example, many states have expanded defined groups of protected classes. Then we have the EEOC, or the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which is the federal agency that monitors and regulates the provisions of laws. Continuously, as workplaces change, further operational definitions come through court cases as judgments are decided. You notice that none of these regulations state that we must value diversity. They say that we must ensure our compliance with discrimination laws, to treat fairly and not harass, which translates to valuing diversity. So, most of the laws that we watch for compliance refer to or protect groups that are diverse, groups of people with common personal characteristics or protected classes. Each of these laws often define who is protected, and most of the laws we watch for compliance refer to or protect groups that are diverse. They have common personal characteristics called protected classes. All of these people who share a common characteristic are equally protected under the law from bias in employment practices. These laws define the groups to encourage us to value diversity, to be aware of others who are unique or different. You can see here that there are many ways to look at diversity. To value diversity is to be aware of the broad range of kinds of different people across a wide spectrum of differences. Speaking of awareness, do you recognize any of these personal characteristics in your team or department? How can you tell whether they feel valued as a part of the team? It's something for you to think about. So, coming back to today, with the official right of all persons to be treated fairly.